If you're wondering what is the best weapon to use in Cold War Zombies, I hopefully have the top 5 of the best weapons that you could possibly use. Now obviously the list will go from kind of the iffy ones to the most overpowered ones, and honestly the last 2, if you're going for high rounds, even the last 3, you'd want to rock all the time. So if you're new here, be sure to subscribe. We're almost at 11,000 subscribers, which is insane. Also be sure to drop a like down below, and also I will be doing a kind of worst weapons to use in Cold War Zombies. So if you're curious about that, be sure to be on the lookout. Whenever that's out, I probably will have it linked down in the description. So if you're watching this video, let's say 2 days after I uploaded this, be sure to check that video out. But without further ado, let's get into it. So the number 5 weapon, in my opinion, that is the best to use is the knife. Now honestly, you might struggle with this weapon, but if you get your stuff down and you kind of get used to using the knife in zombies, it's definitely one of the best starting weapons to use. Unfortunately, if you're playing, let's say, D Machina, you won't be able to do the dance Easter egg unless you buy a weapon or something like that. But what you will be able to do is get a ridiculous amount of points. Now, if you do not know, with the knife, each of the kills that you get with the knife is a critical kill, which basically gives you 115 points, which it means is the maximum amount of points that you can get without double points. When you use a normal weapon and you get like a body kill, it gives you around 90 points, which isn't the maximum. You would have to get a critical kill, which is a headshot with the weapon, and you know, sometimes you might get like a body shot. So the knife is a really good weapon. It can actually be really overpowered without pack-a-punching till like round 14, 15. If you pack-a-punch it, it can go further. If you even upgrade it, it can even go further than that. I wouldn't really recommend it using it on really high rounds because obviously you kind of be more surrounded than you are on the earlier ones. So I really recommend spawning with the knife. You will get a ridiculous amount of points and you will be able to open up those, like, all the doors as fast as you possibly can to get pack-a-punch open. I don't recommend staying past like round 5. You know, if you're, let's say, going for camo challenges, dogs won't spawn. Obviously dogs are, you know, something you don't want to spawn, but also Megaton won't spawn. Now moving on to number 4 is the Gallo. I honestly feel like I should have put it closer to like number 1, but I think it actually is staying in a really good spot in this top 5 list. If you do not know, the Gallo is a shotgun. It's basically the Spaz, but the name was changed for Cold War, and it is called the Gallo SA-12, I do believe. Now this is like kind of like a automatic shotgun, not really full automatic. You do have to press with each shot, but it's really good. Now I don't know if I recommend spawning in with it, but what I do definitely recommend is buying the wall buy that is beside Jug, or even the possible box spawn. It's a blue rarity of the shotgun. Honestly, it's really good. Like, I have to say, it's a really overpowered weapon to use on really early rounds. It's ridiculous on the megatons. Even the Hauer shotgun itself is really good on the megatons. So if you're ever wondering what is a good weapon to use on the megatons, if you don't, let's say, have a Raygun, the shotguns are amazing, and the Gallo, due to its fast fire rate, you will be dealing with them like crazy. And on top of that, it's just really good on zombies up until really high rounds, and if you get the blue rarity of it, you're already like kind of set up until certain round, and by that certain round you should have a purple rarity. It will be more difficult to get the gold one, but if you have it just pack-a-punch to level 3 with purple, it's possible to go up to high rounds, but I wouldn't recommend using this weapon for high rounds. It could be a weapon that you use until you get the better weapon for the high round strategies, so I really do recommend using the Gallo. It's also a really fun weapon. And one thing that I forgot to mention, I really need to specify this isn't anything for camos or if it's a fun weapon. This is just all out how powerful it is. No attachments involved. This is kind of my list. You might disagree with it, but this is just kind of a helpful tip that I kind of wanted to share with you all from my experience going through all of the camos. Number 3 spot is the M16. Now we are getting to the very spicy weapons. Why is M16 on number 3 and not number 1? That's because obviously there's a more powerful weapon. But if you're going for high rounds, I definitely recommend spawning with the M16. Now before there were other weapons that were better to use, but I feel like recently the M16 has really become this weapon that you can simply really fast get through rounds because its 3-round burst is really powerful. Now let's say you want to do the roof strategy, but you don't have, let's say, the Raygun, which is amazing for that. You can use the M16 as a replacement, and that is insane in my opinion. It is essentially a replacement for the Raygun. So let's say you don't have the Raygun at a certain round, you can basically use the M16 up until ridiculous rounds. Now it will be, you know, less powerful, but it'll definitely go through them really fast. I've seen people use them for speed runs. I've seen people use it for high rounds, as I mentioned, and just all out. It's a pretty good gun. Now its fire rate isn't insane, but it's definitely reasonable to be used as a weapon for high rounds. But that's it for the M16. Now moving on to number 2. This has to be the DIE, or the Decompressive Isotopic Estrangement Machine, or just the wonder weapon on DIE. Now I do realize that there might be future maps. I will do definitely a future updated video of this, but for now, if you want a powerful weapon, the DIE Shockwave non-upgraded is the best weapon to use for high rounds, or just in general. If you want a weapon that is definitely better than the knife to give you so many points, the DIE is the weapon. I have realized that recently when I've been trying to hit the box a lot for the Raygun because its rarity is really ridiculous, I have been getting the DIE very commonly from the box. Now it's not super common, so you know, just in case if you're wondering if it's, you know, a common weapon to get, it's definitely more common than a Raygun. I've been basically using its sucking up ability, and it gives you so many points so fast because you get to suck up multiple zombies at once. It's not just one zombie if you shoot them and let's say you miss the other ones around you. With the DIE Shockwave variant, you're not only available to be sucking them up, but at the same time you're available to be shooting at those zombies and blasting them away at multiple zombies, which gives you so many points that it's a great point builder to maybe go back, hit the box. And may I add, using this for the roof strategy with the Raygun, it is mwah. It is basically amazing, and I definitely recommend it. It's definitely a secondary you should have for high rounding, and with insta-kill, it is just amazing. It's ridiculously overpowered with an insta-kill. You get to basically just go through the zombies. It's also very satisfying to use it then. And on to number 1 spot, it has to be the Raygun. The Raygun is finally a very powerful weapon. It wasn't a very powerful weapon for a very long time in Call of Duty. Back in like Black Ops 1 and World at War days, it was a good powerful weapon that, you know, if you remember back in the Black Ops 1 days of Kino der Toten, looking up really old, well, I guess they weren't old back then, but just looking up videos on Black Ops 1 on YouTube and being like, how can I get a Raygun? And there was people being like, hey yo, you can do this dance and teabag and shoot the corners and stab it 5 times and then you should get the Raygun. Honestly, thank God that we haven't went back to that. People aren't gullible and believing those kind of stuff, but it's definitely the most powerful weapon. It is amazing for high rounds. When you get it, it's so satisfying to use, especially on megatons. If you have a pack-a-punched, oh my God, this weapon is ridiculously overpowered with Ring of Fire. It is amazing. So if you were wondering what the number 1 spot, I literally couldn't like put any other gun on it. I was gonna do a list with like a different gun, let's say not including wonder weapons, but I'm not gonna lie to people, this is the best weapon to use. It is amazing, and it's so rare to get. I've been hitting the box so many times. I was going to make a video on how many times does it take you to hit the box in a game, but honestly, I'm not good at maths and my calculations would be extremely inaccurate, and obviously it changes each game. For example, like this morning I got it from the dance Easter egg, and some other days I don't even get it for like the whole day that I play zombies and try to hit the box to get it. It's ridiculously rare. Now you have a higher chance to get it in the box on really high rounds, but aside from that, it is just super rare. It's ridiculously uncommon, but when you get it, it's just satisfying to use, and it can easily get you up to like round 100 if you know the strategies to use. But that's going to be it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, as I've mentioned before, be sure to be on the lookout for the top 5 worst weapons in zombies if you want to, you know, keep an eye out for the worst weapons not to use. Well, obviously if you're going for camos like I did, you will unfortunately have to go through them. Thank you all so much for the recent growth in my YouTube channel. You all have been insane. The subscribing, the liking of videos, the commenting. I love reading your comments. I know that I don't reply to every single one, but I love reading them. I love seeing people having conversations. It's really cool to know that there's a little community here now, and thank you all so much. Be sure to join the Discord that is linked down in the description. There's also a community there, and you might find people to play with. But without further ado, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.